This is the old 4-H clubhouse infirmary. What a wonderful amount of storytelling that could go on from people in Becker County about the old infirmary 4-H clubhouse. This building was built many, many years ago, and it was used by the Becker County and ran by Becker County as an infirmary for people who were poor and people who were very elderly and had no place to go. A lady told me that they used to carry pregnant ladies up to the second floor because there were no elevators in this to have their babies, and they stayed many days. In a letter by Mrs. Hildor Dahlem, she wrote to the National 4-H Conference and told them about our Becker County clubhouse. And she told how they seen it one day from the American Legion area here in Detroit Lakes, where they used to have the kids come to camp. And when they came to camp, they had to even fill their own mattresses with straw. So farmers had to supply the straw for the beds. This was a great headache for the 4-H leaders. So they acquired this clubhouse. And one of the local supporters of this was Dr. F.J. Rogstead. And he ran business here in town and things like that. And he said this would be his project to help 4-H Council get the Becker County 4-H clubhouse. Well, they had to go to the county commissioners, and it was a really big deal. And they went there, and in the end, the county commissioners, bless them, gave this to the Becker County 4-H Council. And there were no windows in this large building. The panes of glass were all on the inside. All that remained in the building was one furnace, and it was in poor condition. So that meant that everyone had to get together and they had to start work. All the things that were used was $2,000 from that Dr. Rogstead raised by various means of fundraising. And after that, it was the local 4-H parents and the kids. They painted, they cleaned, they went to churches, and they had acquired the old church chairs, the old church plates, and old church silverware from all the various churches that at that time they had been getting some new stuff, so they gave it to 4-H. So we entered into this clubhouse with the spirit of giving, and which is one of the 4-H, part of the 4-H pledge, head, heart, hands, and health. And we make the best better, and we work together. So we took the $2,000. Council at that time had about $2,000, it states in this letter. And they fixed this building up to be a real wonderful building. And from about 1948 to 1962, when it was razed, the clubhouse building was for camps. They used to and still do have camps for 4-Hers. They learned everything from agriculture, how to do things properly. They might learn proper planting procedures there at camp. They learned how to sew, they learned how to cook. They had fun, games, songs. It was reported in a letter by Mrs. Dahlem that they even went to the beach and swam because there was a Red Cross lifeguard there to help them. And at a camp, kids of all ages went to camp. A lady who works here at the museum reportedly told me that she went to camp there one day, and this building had no bathrooms. They had washrooms, but they had no toilet facilities, and you had to use an outhouse. So she said the very first day, the matron of the girls, because of course the girls were kept quite separate away from the boys, and she was one of the younger children, and she went to camp, she told me, and the matron told her that they had to use the indoor bathroom at night, which was a old-fashioned porta-pot. And they called it the Lily, she told me. And so that night, some gal had to get up and use the Lily. And in so doing, the matron heard the noise and shined the light on her. And the girl got quite scared and started screaming, and everybody in the whole girls' dormitory woke up. And this young lady was so scared that she actually the next day went home, and she said, I never went back to 4-H camp again. But Fortunately, a lot of others did, and they had a really, really great time. But when I was young and in 4-H in the 1950s, we knew this as the Fairground Spook House. We would sneak up to the old 4-H infirmary building, the clubhouse building, and we would look around because we knew it was haunted. And that was one of our stories that came down through 4-H at that time, that old building was haunted. And we would go sneaking up there, and we weren't supposed to go in. I never went in, but some did. And it was reported that one of the local policemen actually went in to check out one of these naughty children that was running around up there, and he fell through the floor, and that's when they decided they would have to hire someone to tear down this building. So in 1962, it was torn down. Then we had to get some other buildings on the fairground. So 39 clubs got together and put donations of $2,153 and put together the old Quonset building that is up there today. They sold light bulbs, they sold candy, they sold various numbers of things, and did a lot of labor to gain some money also. In 1964, the building was completed in time for the fair. So the buildings and things at the fairground all mean a lot. It was to the people who put them there, and they're being used and improved and everything today.
This concludes the Museum Roadshow for this week and our discussion about the Becker County Fair. Thanks for tuning in, and remember, on TV3, the Museum Roadshow is repeated every 4 hours.